Imagine driving through Montana and spotting a pride of lions stalking bison across the prairie. It sounds impossible, like a scene from a parallel universe where continents never separated. But this scenario isn't as far-fetched as it seems. Lions once ruled these very lands. 11,000 years ago, the American lion dominated North America from Canada to Mexico. They were larger, fiercer, and perfectly adapted to this continent until they vanished forever. Now, some scientists propose bringing lions back to fill an ecological void that's existed for millennia. Could African lions thrive on the Great Plains? Would they restore balance or create chaos? This is the story of what might happen if the king returned to reclaim its ancient throne. King of the Savanna. The African lion stands as one of Earth's most magnificent predators, a living symbol of power. These massive cats rank second only to tigers among all living felines in sheer size. Adult males can weigh over 400 pounds, their bodies rippling with muscle built for explosive power. Their golden coats blend seamlessly with savanna grasses, providing perfect camouflage when stalking prey at dawn. The lion's roar is perhaps its most iconic feature, a sound that defines the African wilderness. This thunderous vocalization travels up to 5 miles across open terrain, announcing territory and warning rivals. When a male lion roars at full volume, the sound resonates through your chest even a mile away. It's a primal declaration that sends shivers down the spine of every creature within earshot. Male lions are instantly recognizable by their magnificent manes, ranging from blonde to black in color. These manes serve multiple purposes beyond mere aesthetics. They intimidate rivals, attract females, and protect vital areas. Darker, fuller manes signal genetic fitness and health, making them crucial in competition for breeding rights. Lionesses lack manes entirely, but they possess equal strength and arguably greater hunting skill than males. What truly sets lions apart from other big cats is their unique social structure and behavior. Unlike solitary tigers or cougars, lions live in complex family groups called prides, sometimes numbering 30 members. These prides consist of related females, their cubs, and a coalition of males who defend territory. This social organization allows lions to tackle prey far larger than a single cat could manage. Within the pride, each member plays a crucial role in the group's survival and success. Lionesses form the hunting corps, working cooperatively to bring down zebras, wildebeest, and buffalo using coordinated tactics. Males patrol vast territories, engaging rival coalitions in brutal combat when necessary to maintain dominance. Cubs learn survival skills through play and observation, preparing for their eventual roles as adults. This division of labor makes lions uniquely effective predators capable of dominating entire ecosystems completely. The Great Plains Frontier. North America stretches across a vast continent, offering incredibly diverse habitats and ecological zones. From Alaska's frozen tundra to Florida's subtropical swamps, from Arizona's scorching deserts to Oregon's temperate rainforests. Each region presents unique challenges and opportunities for any animal attempting to establish a foothold. The question is, where could African lions actually survive and thrive in this landscape? Lions evolved on African savannas and require specific habitat characteristics to hunt effectively and successfully. They need open terrain where they can spot prey from considerable distances while approaching undetected. Grasslands, scrublands, and open woodlands provide ideal conditions for their cooperative hunting strategies and techniques. Extremely dense forests limit visibility, while harsh deserts offer insufficient water and sparse prey populations. The Great Plains emerge as the most obvious candidate for hypothetical lion reintroduction efforts. This massive grassland ecosystem stretches from Texas north through Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas. It continues into southern Canada, creating one of the world's largest temperate grassland regions. Historically, These plains supported staggering numbers of bison, deer, elk, and pronghorn, herbivores comparable to Africa's wildlife. The terrain itself seems custom-designed for lions, with rolling hills and scattered tree groves. Open sight lines allow predators to spot prey herds from miles away while planning attacks. Tall grasses provide concealment during stalking approaches, essential for ambush hunters like lions hunting cooperatively. Water sources, though less abundant than in Africa, exist in rivers, streams, and seasonal wetlands. Canada presents a more complex picture with mixed suitability depending on specific regions and locations. Southern prairie provinces like Alberta and Saskatchewan mirror the Great Plains' open character perfectly. However, Canadian winters bring challenges that African lions have never encountered in their evolutionary history. Sub-zero temperatures, deep snow, and frozen water sources create survival obstacles these tropical cats aren't equipped to handle naturally. The American Southwest offers another intriguing possibility for lion habitat in drier conditions. Parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas feature semi-arid grasslands and mesquite scrublands. Lions already survive in relatively dry environments like Botswana's Kalahari Desert, proving they can adapt. However, lower prey density would force prides to maintain enormous territories, possibly hundreds of square miles. Water scarcity during summer months could prove fatal without access to reliable sources nearby. Eastern North America remains largely unsuitable due to human development and inappropriate habitat characteristics overall. Dense, deciduous forests, intensive agriculture, sprawling suburbs, and major cities dominate the landscape completely. A lion wandering through modern Pennsylvania or Georgia would quickly encounter humans, livestock, and roads. Such conflicts would end badly for both lions and people, making Eastern introduction scenarios unrealistic. Ghosts of the Pleistocene. Few people realize that lions once roamed North America as native inhabitants, not foreign invaders. During the last ice age, from roughly 130,000 to 11,000 years ago, a spectacular predator ruled this continent. This was Panthera atrox, the American lion, one of the largest cats ever to walk Earth. American lions evolved from Eurasian cave lions that crossed the Bering Land Bridge during glacial periods. These pioneers found a continent teeming with megafauna, offering endless hunting opportunities for adaptable predators. Over thousands of generations, they spread from Alaska to Mexico, becoming one of the most successful carnivores. Fossils have been discovered from Alberta's frozen ground to southern Mexico's tropical regions, documenting their incredible range. These extinct giants exceeded modern African lions in size by nearly 25% overall. Males may have weighed 600 pounds or more, standing 4 feet tall at the shoulder. Their leg bones show robust construction comparable to brown bears, suggesting immense strength for subduing prey. They hunted Ice Age horses, bison, camels, young mammoths, and numerous other herbivores now extinct. The American lion's reign lasted over 100,000 years before ending abruptly around 11,000 years ago. Climate change transformed their habitat as warming temperatures melted glaciers and altered vegetation patterns dramatically. Simultaneously, humans arrived from Asia, spreading across the continent with sophisticated hunting technologies and weapons. The combination of environmental change and human pressure proved fatal for most North American megafauna. This Pleistocene extinction event eliminated American lions, saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, short-faced bears, and more. North America lost its entire guild of large predators in an evolutionary instant, geologically speaking. The ecological roles these animals played vanished with them, leaving a continent without its apex predators. This history forms the foundation for modern rewilding proposals and justifies lion reintroduction philosophically. Some conservationists argue that reintroducing lions could partially restore lost ecological functions and relationships. However, critics counter that modern lions aren't American lions, and the modern world isn't the Pleistocene. The debate highlights fundamental questions about conservation goals, ecosystem management, and humanity's relationship with nature. Ecological Revolution. Picture a massive wildlife reserve established on the Great Plains, spanning thousands of square miles. A pride of African lions is carefully released after years of planning and preparation. What happens when Africa's apex predator meets North America's native wildlife after 11,000 years of separation? The lions would likely adapt to hunting native prey surprisingly quickly, using instincts honed over millennia. White-tailed deer, mule deer, and elk all fall within the size range lions regularly hunt. Bison, though formidable, resemble African buffalo in behavior and defensive strategies that lions already understand. Young or weak bison would become prime targets, just as young buffalo are in Africa today. Pronghorn present an interesting challenge with their incredible speed, reaching 55 miles per hour sustained. However, lions hunt by ambush rather than pursuit, using terrain and teamwork to cut off escape. Newborn pronghorn, like newborn wildebeest, would be especially vulnerable during their first weeks of life. Over time, lions would learn the rhythms and patterns of North American prey species. The ecological impacts would extend far beyond simple predator-prey relationships in complex ways. Overpopulated deer herds currently damage ecosystems by over-browsing vegetation in many regions without sufficient predators. Lion predation could reduce these populations, allowing plant communities to recover and diversify significantly. Healthier vegetation means better habitat for countless other species, from insects to songbirds to small mammals. However, introducing apex predators creates cascading effects that ripple through entire ecosystems in unpredictable ways. Herbivores would alter their behavior patterns, avoiding areas where lions hunt most frequently and successfully. This could redistribute grazing pressure, benefiting some plant communities while potentially harming others through increased use. Water sources might become dangerous congregation points where lions ambush prey, fundamentally changing wildlife behavior. The most dramatic changes would occur within the existing predator community itself through competitive interactions. North America's current top predators, wolves, cougars, bears, and coyotes, would suddenly face a competitor larger than them all. Competition theory predicts that the largest, most efficient predator typically dominates when resources are limited. In Africa, lions dominate leopards and hyenas through intimidation, killing, and kleptoparasitism consistently. Cougars would likely suffer the most from lion presence, being similar in diet preference and habitat. These solitary cats avoid direct confrontation, so they would probably retreat from lion-occupied areas entirely. Cougar populations might decline regionally or shift to mountainous terrain unsuitable for lion hunting cooperatively. This could create cougar refugia in rocky, forested highlands while lions dominate open lowlands. Wolves present a more complex competitive scenario due to their pack hunting strategy and intelligence. While individual wolves weigh far less than lions, a large pack might defend kills aggressively. However, African lions routinely kill spotted hyenas to eliminate competitors, despite hyenas' formidable pack hunting abilities. Similar dynamics might emerge, with lions killing wolves opportunistically to reduce competition for shared prey. The challenge of adaptation. Despite ecological arguments favoring lion reintroduction, practical obstacles loom enormous and perhaps insurmountable realistically. Climate stands as the most fundamental challenge. African lions evolved in tropical and subtropical environments. They possess short fur coats designed for heat dissipation, not insulation against freezing temperatures. A Great Plains winter with temperatures dropping below 0 Fahrenheit regularly would test their limits severely. Could lions adapt to cold over time through natural selection, favoring cold-adapted individuals gradually? Evolutionary theory suggests yes, but the process requires many generations and significant mortality meanwhile. Siberian tigers provide a model. They evolved thick winter coats and larger body sizes for cold climates. However, this adaptation took thousands of years, and introduced lions wouldn't have that luxury immediately. Human conflict presents an equally serious obstacle to any realistic lion reintroduction program today. Lions require vast territories. A pride may range across 100 square miles or more. North America's landscape is fragmented by highways, railroads, farms, ranches, and towns everywhere. Lions wandering on a private property would inevitably kill livestock, creating expensive compensation issues and public backlash. Lethal encounters between lions and humans would be statistically inevitable given sufficient time and proximity. African lions kill dozens of people annually in their native range despite cultural familiarity. North Americans lack this cultural knowledge, potentially venturing too close or responding inappropriately to encounters. A single fatal attack would likely doom the entire reintroduction program, politically regardless of scientific merit. Legal and ethical questions complicate matters further, dividing conservationists and the public into opposing camps. Does humanity have the right to reshape ecosystems through such dramatic interventions without full understanding? Some argue that we caused the original extinctions and therefore bear responsibility for restoration efforts. Others contend that ecosystems have changed too fundamentally to rewind the clock successfully now. The argument for reintroduction rests partly on the Pleistocene rewilding concept, restoring lost ecological functions. Proponents point to successful wolf reintroduction in Yellowstone, which transformed the ecosystem through trophic cascades. However, wolves were only absent for 70 years, while lions have been absent 11,000 years. The scale of ecological change differs dramatically between these scenarios, limiting direct comparisons significantly. The vision of lions on the Great Plains captivates the imagination with its audacity and beauty. It represents humanity grappling with our role in nature, destroyer or restorer, observer or engineer. Perhaps lions will never roam North America again outside of zoos and sanctuaries realistically. But the question itself forces us to consider what we've lost and what we might regain. Some doors once closed can never reopen. Others simply await our courage.